So I decided to do my speech on zombie being a Jesus. Not to offend anyone, it was just for fun. So we know the story of Jesus, right? He was going around claiming that he was the Son of God. Some people didn't like this. They didn't take it too nicely. So they crucified him. He was placed in a tomb. And then after Sabbath, Mary Magdalene and his mother Mary went to go visit the tomb. There was an earthquake. An angel came down and said that Jesus had risen from the dead and that he was waiting in Galilee. Well, hold on. There's a huge part missing there. How did he, come back alive? Zombie. So it's like, that's what I'm thinking. Zombie. Because, that's what logically makes sense to this day. Back then, they didn't know because they didn't have the technology and knowledge and resources that we do today. So it makes sense that they just thought it was a miracle and that he really was the Son of God. So, why a zombie? There's, clues in the Bible that, tell us that zombies existed. For instance, John 6:53, Jesus said to them, "I tell you the truth, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you." That seems like he's encouraging people to eat other people. In Matthew 27:51, at the moment the curtain of the temples was torn in two from top to bottom, the earth shook and the rocks split. 52. The tombs broke open and bodies of many holy people who had died were raised to life. More zombie coming back to life stuff. Then the third one in Revelation 11:8, their bodies will lie in the street of the great city, which figuratively called Sodom and Egypt, where also their Lord was crucified. And it continues to Revelation 11:11. But after 3.5 days, a breath of life from God entered them, and they stood on their feet, and terror struck those who saw them. Again, dead coming back to life. Zombie. So, how did he turn into one? Well, there's a few parasites and fungus that exist in this world that turn their host into a zombie-like state. For instance, the female phorid fly. She takes her eggs and lays them inside an ant, and the larvae go up to the head and start nibbling on the brain, and they stay there for a few weeks. In the Ludwig R.G. Life Extension Integrated Pest Management Specialist stated that first they become zombies, their movements under the control of the parasite, then their heads fall off and the parasite emerges. Well, that doesn't make very much sense, because I think that definitely would have been written inside the book, that he was walking around and all of a sudden his head came off and an ant came out, or a parasite, came out. People would have freaked out. There's another parasite, and it's called the hairworms. They have this capability too. They live their adult life in water, but to get there, they grow inside a host, and then takes control of the brain and forces the host to commit suicide wherever there's a pool of water. That doesn't seem likely either, because no one said that Jesus had drowned. Then there is the Ophiocordyceps unilaterus. It's a brain-controlling fungi that turns ants into zombies that do the parasite's bidding before it kills them. And this was stated in an article in Live Science. So this fungus infects the ants by releasing these spores that are around them. And so once the ant spores into the air, So once the ant gets near the spores, it's infected. And the fungus uses this chemical to control the brain, and to control the ant to where to go and where not to go and stuff like that before it kills it off. Well, this seems pretty probable to this theory, but the host, the fungus grows like little antennas or antlers on the host. So unless no one told Jesus that there was something on his face, it doesn't really seem likely. Lastly, there's flatworms. And a snail consumes the flatworm's eggs without realizing it. And the Zombie Research Society states that the larva then changes into sporocytes, causing a drastic mutation in the snail's brain and physiology. Healthy snails seek darkness and hide from predators, while the infected snails go out and find open light and sun, basically, an open space. Well, that seems pretty likely just because, well, Jesus was in the tomb. It was dark in there. There must have been an infected snail that slipped in. And the parasite got into him, making him want to go out into the sun and open space. Therefore, he left his tomb and came back alive. So, obviously, there's going to be some arguments regarding this. Some say that he was a vampire, which doesn't seem likely because in how vampires work, they can be destroyed by a stake, beheaded, fire, direct sunlight. They're afraid of crucifix, holy water, and garlic. Well, Jesus was out, helping people and preaching, so he was out in the sunlight. That's not probable. There's another one that he really was the Son of God, of course, but who knows? I feel like if he was the Son of God, God probably would have picked other people too to come back alive. And I think that, God would have been able to have children, but I don't know who God is, so I can't say yes to that theory. Then some say that his followers went in and stole his body. That doesn't seem probable because if they loved him, they would have let him stay rested. And that argument is found in the resurrection theories. Others say he wasn't completely dead, which makes sense, but there was huge stakes to hold him on this cross, so he would have bled out or definitely been infected and died off, so that doesn't make sense. Because doctors pronounce people dead by accident all the time. But when you have huge gaps in you, no, I don't think so. And then another one was basic visions, and that makes more sense, but Paul based his belief on a hallucinatory like experience. In the book of Acts 9:39, Paul was on the road to Damascus when a bright light flashed around him. Then he fell to the ground and heard voices of Jesus. The experience was so traumatic that he was blind for 3 days, according to the resurrection theories. That seems probable, but his letters were the first, Christian writings. That was before the Bible, so why wasn't that put into the Bible? I don't know. So, there's a lot of inconsistencies and contradictions and arguments towards this topic. But it seems that he could have very well been a zombie because of that flatworm parasite. And then the Judgment Day, if he's supposed to come back, I think that the Judgment Day is for, he gathers all his zombie army because he's the leader. And he's like, hey, you guys need to calm down. I was just trying to send a good message and you guys spiraled it out of control. That's my conclusion. I'll let you guys base your own theories, and that's all.